If you seek genuine freedom, endeavor to master your own thoughts, desires, and passions, and never allow external circumstances to dictate your actions. Epictetus. Many believe that real freedom means having the ability to go wherever they desire and do as they please. But what if I told you there's a deeper and more profound freedom? True freedom doesn't solely exist externally, but primarily within us, in that space where our emotions and thoughts coexist. I'm referring to emotional self-reliance, that unique ability not to be swayed by the whims of the environment, others' expectations, or the fear of external judgment. So, what does it genuinely mean to live without relying emotionally on anyone? It means not permitting the actions or words of others to determine our emotional state or self-worth. It's about having internal control over our tranquility and self-worth, regardless of external circumstances. For some of you, this may seem like a groundbreaking concept, but this notion is rooted in an ancient philosophy called Stoicism. We won't delve into the specifics of this philosophical school at the moment, but it's vital to understand that Stoics regarded inner freedom as the ultimate aim of human life. Because when you're internally free, you're genuinely free in every sense. If you want to delve further into the fundamentals of this age-old philosophy, you can find all the information on our channel. Today we will analyze personal independence and emotional autonomy from a Stoic perspective, uncovering how it's possible to achieve true liberty, regardless of external circumstances. Have you ever pondered whether you need as many possessions as you believe to be happy, or if what you truly need isn't material? Stoicism presents a fascinating perspective on genuine self-sufficiency. I'm not just referring to financial freedom or not depending on others for your basic needs. I'm talking about a much deeper and more meaningful independence, emotional and mental self-reliance. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most celebrated Roman emperors and a seasoned Stoic, wrote, "The universe's nature is the nature of things, and the purpose of existence is happiness and self-sufficiency." On the other hand, Epictetus, a former slave who became one of the most influential philosophers of his time, argued that freedom isn't ensured by the abundance of possessions or opportunities, but by the absence of desire. These words, written nearly 2,000 years ago, still resonate today, underscoring a truth that often goes unnoticed. True freedom and self-sufficiency are rooted in our capacity to be emotionally and mentally self-reliant. Not allowing external influences, expectations, or societal pressures to disrupt our inner peace is at the core of Stoic self-sufficiency. Imagine for a moment living in a state where external events have no impact on your emotional equilibrium, where the opinions and criticisms of others hold no sway over your well-being. That's what the Stoics refer to as autarky, and it's an aspiration for all irrespective of our circumstances. We've talked about genuine freedom and self-sufficiency, but have you ever questioned why, despite grasping these concepts, we remain emotionally dependent on others? Humans are inherently social beings. From our earliest days, we seek connection, acceptance, and recognition from others. This fundamental need, while crucial for forming bonds and communities, can also lead us to dark places. The need for approval, the fear of rejection, and emotional dependency can become imperceptible chains that bind us and hinder our authenticity. This is where Stoic wisdom becomes relevant. The Stoics introduce a fundamental distinction in life: what we can control and what we cannot. While we can't control the actions, words, or thoughts of others, we have complete control over how we choose to respond to them. This choice, this freedom of response, is where our real power lies. Seneca, one of the great Stoic thinkers, stated that it's not what happens that affects us, but our interpretation of what happens. In other words, power isn't in preventing others from having opinions or taking actions that we dislike. It's in how we choose to perceive and respond to those opinions and actions. Rather than surrendering our emotional power to others, Stoicism encourages us to reclaim it. It urges us to realize that, while the external world may be unpredictable and chaotic, our internal world can be a bastion of calm, clarity, and strength as long as we consciously choose to make it so. Emotional detachment is often misunderstood. Many perceive it as a form of indifference, as a barrier erected to keep others at bay. But what if I told you that, according to the Stoics, emotional detachment is, in fact, the path to genuine serenity? Stoic emotional detachment isn't about closing ourselves off from the world or becoming unfeeling. It's about recognizing and honoring our emotions without being constantly pulled by external circumstances or the people around us. It's not indifference, it's freedom. This form of detachment acknowledges a fundamental truth. We are genuinely responsible only for our actions and emotions. We cannot bear the burden of others' expectations, judgments, or emotions. By freeing ourselves from that unnecessary burden, we become capable of acting with greater clarity and purpose while preserving our inner peace. Think of it as being in the center of a turbulent storm where the world with all its demands and distractions swirls around you. But in that center where you stand, there's calm. This calm represents Stoic emotional detachment. We don't ignore the storm, but we don't let it carry us away either. Thus, emotional detachment leads us to a more serene and balanced life, enabling us to connect with others from a place of authenticity rather than need. Sometimes, even when we understand the importance of emotional detachment, we need practical tools to walk this path with confidence. The Stoics, cognizant of human nature and its challenges, left us valuable techniques to strengthen our inner autonomy. One of the most powerful techniques is the bird's eye view. Imagine ascending above your current situation, observing everything from an aerial perspective, like a bird flying over a vast landscape. From up there, what seemed overwhelming and insurmountable up close becomes a tiny point on a vast canvas. The opinions and expectations of others, which may seem suffocating up close, become almost insignificant from this elevated perspective. This technique not only helps us gain perspective on problems, but also reminds us that we are just a small piece in the grand mosaic of existence. Alongside this panoramic view, the Stoics emphasize the importance of daily reflections, not as an exercise in vanity or self-indulgence, but as a way to become observers of ourselves. By observing ourselves daily, we can detect patterns, recognize when we're yielding to external pressures, and take corrective measures to strengthen our emotional autonomy. Last but not least is the concept of amor fati, which translates to love of fate. It's the total and loving acceptance of everything that happens in our lives, both good and bad. Why love your fate, even when it brings challenges or hardships? Because every event, every situation, is an opportunity to learn, grow, and strengthen our inner resilience. Instead of resisting the flow of life, amor fati invites us to embrace each moment with gratitude and courage. Through this unconditional love of destiny, our inner independence is fortified because we stop fighting what we can't control and focus on how we can respond. In summary, emotional autonomy isn't a passive state, it's an active choice, reinforced by tools and techniques that, when practiced regularly, enable us to live with a depth and freedom rarely experienced. As we walk this path with Stoic teachings as our guide, we discover that true emotional autonomy is not only possible, but within our reach. Now I ask you, what are the real benefits of a life without emotional dependence on anyone? What changes within you when you break free from those invisible chains? When you achieve this inner independence, you cultivate unparalleled resilience. The ups and downs of life, which used to seem like insurmountable storms, now become gentle breezes that you can face with determination. Your character strengthens as you disconnect from emotional dependence. Every decision and action you take from a place of autonomy feeds a self-confidence that is nearly unshakable. You no longer depend on external applause because internal recognition is powerful enough. But perhaps the most sublime benefit is the peace and serenity you feel, knowing that you can face any challenge on your own. It's like being in the midst of a tumultuous ocean and yet feeling a deep calm within you. That's the magic of emotional independence. That's the promise that Stoicism offers us. In conclusion, the essence of what we've explored today is that Stoicism presents a way of life where emotional autonomy isn't just desirable but essential. Through its teachings, we discover that true freedom lies in our ability to stay firm and centered, no matter the storms outside. I invite you to cultivate this inner strength from now on, to embark on this wonderful adventure of discovering a life free from emotional dependencies. A life where you are in control of your ship, regardless of the state of the seas. Finally, I hope these teachings accompany you in your daily life and inspire you to continue exploring and adopting these principles in every aspect of your existence. Before I bid you farewell, I'd like to thank you for your time and attention. If this content has been helpful to you and you want to continue this journey of discovery with us, don't forget to subscribe. Here are 2 videos that might pique your interest. Take care, and see you soon.